Audio and video recorded. If you would please stand and join us in the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is accept for review the meeting minutes of December 7th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appoint a selectman representative to the capital budget committee. I'm not sure who has interest. I think Mary did it last year.
I have interest in it, but I don't want to just jump in and take it if either of you want to go.
I'm fine with her jumping right in.
I am as well.
All right,
So is there a
great.
motion to appoint Mary?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Do we have a date and time for that?
We do. So don't have times yet, but they will be during the day. The first hearing will be on March 14th. That's when department heads turn in their budgets, turn them in and make their presentation. And then on March 21st is when the committee will get together and vote to make recommendations to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Okay. We'll move down to, are you doing the accountant? Are you
Yep.
starting with those?
Everything from 7:35, if that's what you would prefer, I can do.
Yeah, let's go down.
So the town accountant budget, minimum changes is up 1.76%. The adjustment is basically just showing, at this point, a COLA increase in both for the town accountant and for the assistant accountant, which is a union employee. Next budget is town council. I just level funded at $87,000. Next budget is veterans. It's up $400. Really, the only change is for the COLA increase in the union employee. Next budget is cable TV committee, level funded at $1,100. Next budget is $1,750. Planning board, basically level funded, up 1.6%, but again, the change is chiefly due just to the COLA increase for the secretarial staff. Board of Appeals, the increase is $100, again, just because of the increase in the clerical employee. Rent Control Board, up $84, same reason. The ADA Compliance Committee is up $3,500. And the reason for that is because you'll recall that last year we named an ADA coordinator. She's around town during the day, comes to our meetings at night. But we added $3,000 for the ADA coordinator as a requirement of the law to have the coordinator. And we're paying a $3,000 stipend, so this is the first budget that we're showing it. And then the ADA committee also asked for a $500 increase in a $650 increase in their dues and meetings line. $650 increase in their dues and meeting line, because there's some meetings that they want to be able to go to that they haven't done. And you can see in the past, the committee really hasn't done that, but there's some members this year that want to, and I think professional development and training is important. So if we could give them an opportunity to go and the coordinator to go, that's great. And then municipal building needs is level funded at $1,486.
Thank you, David. Any questions or comments on these budgets?
No.
Just 1510 town council.
Yeah.
So fiscal year 2022 actual, we only spent $42,000.
Yeah, we tried to do pretty good. I mean, I think, I say this all the time, when I got here, we used to spend, every year was always over $100,000.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so FY22 was a little bit low. We've been usually in the 50s. One year we did use the $85,000. This year we might use a little bit more because we do have 4 union negotiations, so sometimes they're more involved. But the true driver in that expense is lawsuits, and especially personnel lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, I mean, I've been here for 10 years, we've only had 1 personnel lawsuit. So we try to keep it down. But I do budget it for the same amount every year because I can never tell you, I mean, tomorrow I might get hit with a lawsuit.
Right,
you know.
right. No, I'm fine with the amount, because I recall seeing it 78, 89, up in that range, so it makes sense, because you can't predict what it will be.
Right.
I'm just noting that it's significantly less than what I've seen in the past
Yeah, and again, you saw an
for
email
the actual.
last week, because there was a department head that requested legal advice, and instead of running it by town council, you had saw it, I actually provided the advice and what the council was to go forward. So, you know, it maybe save $300 there, but you times that by a dozen times, it adds up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The 6:35, she's planning on being here, right?
I believe so.
I told her I have a bunch of,
Okay.
I said,
All right, is there a motion for a recess until one of the appointments shows up?
So moved?
Second?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
Am I in order?
Yeah,
I don't know.
we have time, Neil.
You're always in order, Neil.
Depends where I am. If I'm by myself, yes, other people know. Town meeting, we vote for things to be done. Like I'll use the dump. We have that, they're gonna put a septic system in, and we allocated money for it. And then, I think it come out about free cash, whatever it was. Then the building, we approved to have it done. The way it sounded at the town meeting, it was gonna be done within the same year of last year. And nothing's been done up there. Is there a reason why? Or should I be asking Chris?
No, it's okay. I mean, I can handle it. So, yeah, it was approved in May of last year. There was a couple of other events that he focused on first. And quite frankly, we did some additional pricing estimates, and they came in higher because, again, construction costs just keep on going up. But this past week, we actually met with the consultant again, and he was able to get some pricing that was more in line. We had budgeted $462,000 at that time. We're hoping that he's gonna be able to bring it back in line, and if so, then I'll bring that as Pomeroy Associates. Hopefully you'll see that contract at your next meeting on March 1st. But it's all about just pricing.
Yeah, but when you come to town meeting, it seemed like it was all in order. That it's gonna cost, you're just buying a building, that's all it is. It'd be the labor cost, which really, labor don't add much to the cost. They might say it does, but it really don't. People are stagnant, it's how much you're willing to pay somebody to do it. If everybody's asking $100,000, somebody who's at $50,000, then you gotta make up your mind. You wanna say $50,000 and get what you pay for, or you say $100,000. But I'm just saying, the way it sounded, like it was just gonna be a box, dropped on a slab, and to be up and running. And then I made a suggestion a year before that on the septic system, but just put an outhouse down there. Then people sort of mocked it, like saying some things, and then after talking to a few people, in case there was an accident down there, we have to be able to have a wash site for
Well, that's true.
whatever.
That's OSHA guidelines.
So there's really two things that haven't been done down there. If it ain't gonna be done, that's fine.
No, I mean, we have any intention of doing it, but for example, that building was a modular building from King Porter, and the original estimate was $163,000, which is what we went to town meeting with. We got funding in May, and by August, they were quoting us close to $200,000. So what are you gonna do? I mean, didn't have the money. You know, we all saw it. So, the generator, we went to town meeting, I forget the number was, that was quoted to us on March 8th of 2022. Got approved in May, in August, September, we went out to start doing everything, and that went up as well. Didn't have the money. So instead of coming back here and saying, give me more money, we put it on hold, and we said, let's reprice it, and we literally were just repricing it again this past month.
Then it has to go before town meeting again?
Nope, that money stays in there forever.
Well, I understand that, the money, but the cost goes up higher. We got to come before town meeting to get the,
Exactly. And I didn't want, and the God's honest truth is, I really didn't want to go back to town meeting looking for more money.
People don't have money.
So
How's the price on the building now? Have you received that quote yet?
we have not.
Okay.
But it was literally just this past week that we talked to Pomeroy Associates and said, can you reprice it for us?
Right.
And another thing, the school also, that big generator on the roof, I did talk to the superintendent, he said they haven't done it yet, they haven't got it, whatever that unit they were gonna replace. So they won't, even if they were to get, they have the money, they have it, what's going on there?
I do not know. Mark Handel said, I do not know about that one.
I mean, because they're not gonna open up the roof in the winter, so probably another summer project, because you have to bring in crane and take the old one off and put the new one on.
Is that where they're putting it? They're putting it on top of the roof?
I think so, I assume that's the way it was, that's the one that's broken up there.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any answers on that.
Marilyn, we're ready for you.
Do we have to come out of our break we never had?
We never officially voted to go
Yeah.
into recess, so we're good. How are you?
How are you?
Hi, Marilyn.
Seems like yesterday I've seen this.
I know. So if you just want to give us a quick rundown, highlight any changes.
Sure. First change I think you might notice is in salaries. Wendy Adams has resigned. She's taken a job as assistant director in Mansfield, and we were very happy for her. And also, Fran Dybel is retiring. She has not given me a date yet. She said that she would like to stay and help train the person that we hired to replace Wendy. So, given the numbers that we had in 2020, I did my town report first, so I'd have those numbers for you. We actually saw 33,621 people in a year. And that's 12,000 more than we did last year, which surprised us because we had a lot of services during COVID, and we thought that was a banner year. But people are out and about, and the reason for the increases in salaries is more the increase in hours. It's not more money to pay them, it's just we need them for more hours.
This wouldn't be increasing positions or anything?
No.
Would it be going from part-time to full-time, any of those positions?
No, both Wendy and Fran were full-time. But
Okay.
Wendy worked 30 hours a
Okay.
week for that full-time, and Fran works 24 hours
Okay.
a week, so that's still considered full-time.
Mhm.
We're just making the outreach coordinator, shine counselor, a real 35-hour-a-week position,
Okay.
and increasing Fran's position from 24 to 30.
Okay, so they were already receiving benefits. The
Yes.
increase in time isn't going to change that.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So moving down to heating, we find that we have already spent through November, well, actually paid $1,000 in November for 1 month. So we're expecting that, especially with the weather that we're expecting coming up, to be spending a lot more of that money this year than last. And with electricity, we were asked to consider a 5% increase in our electric. And looking at my financials, it seems that we've already spent 60% of what I budgeted last year to December and through December, and that would have been November bill. So we don't even
Wow.
have the December text in there. We did some increase in repairs and maintenance due to a family of mice that like to nest in our air conditioning units out front during the summertime and just take shelter in our heating units in the attic in the wintertime.
Oh, gosh.
And they were chewing on the wires. We've had to replace quite a few mechanical issues too. Those are 20 years old and they get a lot of use. So I'm hoping we don't have any more issues with them, but I just wanted to be on the safe side in case we have to replace something or.
Is there a possibility, like, what would it cost to replace one of them?
More than I could use in my.
In your budget line?
In my budget line, that would have to be a capital.
Would it make sense to consider replacing it?
That's not a bad thought. I mean, when we're working on capital budget soon, I could get some pricing on that.
Or at least something to
Consider it.
consider?
Mhm.
Maybe not this year, but in the
Right.
future.
But that was a huge jump. Could I ask a question? And this is maybe out of order, but I have never used municipal building repairs. And I think it's because I'm not too sure how to, checking with municipal building repairs and equipment repairs and maintenance, I'm
Yeah,
not
what's
sure
the
what the difference is.
David, do you know the difference?
You mean between the two lines?
Yes.
Yeah, why that line item's
One's,
in here?
one's building and one's equipment, and so something goes wrong on your building, I'm trying to think of an example, a broken window.
Yep, so exactly. So
Okay, all right, okay.
And then equipment repairs would be say something in the kitchen, the refrigerator
Right.
breaks.
Right, okay. That's how I've been using it, so that's
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
And then we get down to postage, and it's out of control, what they're doing to us in postage. And I sent the newsletter over to be mailed last week, and they didn't, well, I wasn't aware that postage had gone up again. And so they called and told me I had to bring $10.67 over to them to make the difference because they wouldn't mail it. So just when I thought we were getting more people to go electronically and fewer letters going out, and now the postage is going up, so it hasn't made much of a difference for us yet. We're working on that. And paper and toner and all the office supplies is to get that newsletter out the door. And not just that, we do a lot of the trifolds, we print a lot of flyers, we have a lot of mailings for our seniors, so it's important that we have that touch. They don't have computers, a lot of them, and that's their only way of seeing what we're doing. And in the gasoline, we didn't use the van a whole lot in 2020, 21, or really that much in 22. We're using it more now. And with the town approving a new van, which we'll probably be waiting until October for, we're hoping to use it more often and get back to some day trips. So we'll be needing more gas. Any questions?
Questions?
No, I was just going to say, as far as postage, you're right, it's gone up, but it's almost turned into a more meaningful mode of communication than email, because I have 3 email boxes, all filled with junk. So it's useless communication now. And as far as the Shine Counselor, I didn't really realize what a Shine Counselor was until about 2 years ago. And many local communities are booked solid with appointments because they can't get through to Social Security to get assistance with understanding, residents, assistance with understanding Medicare. So it's a valuable resource. It's just too complicated to try to figure it out on your own.
Absolutely.
And you do a wonderful job. I've heard, compliments on many communities, what the Shine Counselors do. They help them maneuver not only Medicare, but also different supplements, because you can't trust what you're hearing on TV or you're receiving in the mail.
You shouldn't trust what you're hearing and seeing on TV. And not just open enrollment. I mean, that's that big time of year where we're inundated for a month and a half with appointments for choices of people changing their coverage. But all year long, the Shine Counselors are there for the people turning 65.
Do a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of the folks that work there. And we hope that we hire somebody that'll do us proud.
Sure you will.
Thank you.
All right.
No, that's
Nothing
great.
else?
Oh,
All right.
awesome.
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you next year.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, David, was Rick doing the water, or is he waiting on Wayne, or?
I'm gonna guess he's waiting on Wayne. Let me verify, see if they're out there.
Yeah, I went up there, the council lady for the Medicare.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Sucks being that old, but.
But there's no resource, and
Yeah.
they do a wonderful job.
I
I've
just tell
called,
people, don't listen to anybody, just go up there, get the facts, and just do what you gotta do.
and that's what I tell them, that they say about all these things they see on TV, or they get mail, and I tell them, I don't know if that is a reliable resource, but if you talk to the Shine Counselor, they know based on experience.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Are we doing water?
You're up, Wayne.
can't run, it's too crowded. Here we are once again, huh?
How are you
Here.
doing, Wayne?
Good, how about yourselves?
Good, thank you.
All smiles, that's good, let's keep them that way. I got the boxing gloves out in my car, though. All right, what do you want to hear?
Good news.
It's always good news, just hear the lines that are up.
Yeah, that are meaningful,
Yeah.
Well, they're all meaningful, but, all right, so.
dollar-wise.
Yeah. So 5109, that's by contract. 5110 by contract. 5111 by contract. 5112, that's a mistake. Is that the mistake? No, not that one. There is one though. I'll get to it. 5112, that's by contract. 5113 is by contract. And
Really?
5118, that's a mistake. I fixed it on mine, but it's supposed to be 75090. And I
Which-
believe on yours it'll be,
The
Which-
office manager.
yeah.
Why is labor only 1.37% up?
I don't have anybody anymore.
So they'll come in at a lower grade,
Oh.
probably.
How many positions do you have open right now?
I've got 3.
You have 3 open positions?
There's 2 people and me now.
Yikes.
Yeah,
How's hiring going?
I thought you,
I don't know, well, I can only do what I do. That's a discussion for another time, not here. All right, we ready? All right.
So you're saying office manager should be what?
So it should be 75090. I
Oh,
believe yours would say
790.
something different.
Yeah, not a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But it's
wait.
just, I inverted the numbers.
so Wayne, just since you're looking at, calling out some mistakes,
Yep.
I think line 5174 is a mistake.
You want me to move around here?
Yeah, just because it's a mistake.
Oh, so those are estimated. There's nothing I can do with those.
Right, but you wouldn't calculate a reduction.
So I looked
That's-
at the previous, what was spent in the previous year, and I
Right.
added 5%. So last year we asked for a number, but we didn't spend that in the previous year. So those are estimated numbers. There's nothing I can do. The town doesn't have those numbers yet.
No, I understand all that, but when you're showing your budget is at an increase of 4.42, it's because you've taken a significant reduction in a line you have no control over.
Correct,
So
but
that's
Yeah,
not,
David
So-
that's
plugs that in for
misleading.
you.
yes,
Right.
there's nothing, so it's not a mistake on my part. I take what we spent the previous year and I add 5% to it.
But
But that means your percentage
Yeah, it's
increase
gonna-
year over year is
It's gonna
higher
skew
than
the percentages,
4.4.
but there's nothing I can do, like the town, they don't usually get those numbers until the last minute.
No, we understand, we're just making sure a concept isn't missed here.
Yeah, no, it's not, it doesn't, I don't miss it, I don't have any control over it.
right, I think it probably from a perception.
All right, so next year I'll make sure that I skew the other. No, but I'll look
You
at it a
just-
little different.
Yeah, you're better off keeping the same number in because mathematically, when you get to the end,
Yep,
it would reflect a true increase or decrease
Right.
from prior year. This way, it shows, it's quoting a $78,000 savings in something you have no control over. So, that's all.
yep,
Only one item I do want to make note, the 5% increase that you're looking at, Wayne, is FY '22.
yep,
Now so it's really a 5% over 2 years that you did that on that estimate.
all right.
Because FY '23, we don't know the actual yet.
All right.
So next year, I'll take the previous year's numbers and plug them in, whatever I end up asking for.
Okay.
It'll be correct, I'm sure it'll be corrected before we get to
Absolutely.
town meeting.
It's just a
100%.
math thing.
Yeah.
All right, back to, where were we?
5140. That's the next one, and that's
Yep.
by contract.
Yep.
Then quite a few numbers there that I have no control over, and they're not plugged in yet. 5190 was a decrease. I don't have any people, so there's nothing I can do there. Heating and fuel, pretty much stayed the same. We've had a mild winter, but one never knows with weather. I think I'm still gonna be reborn and come back as a weatherman, so I can be wrong all the time. 5211, I upped that by 5%. Everybody knows electricity is expensive and going up. Skipping down to 5255, hydrant repairs. So the actual cost of a hydrant and a repair for us is about $2,000. So the line only actually allowed us one repair. So this year, it allows us 2 repairs. You'll see this going up in the future. I want to get up to about 5 repairs a year or 5 replacements a year. We have about 500 plus hydrants in town, some of them dating back to a previous century. So we work on it on a regular basis. And if I have money in other lines that aren't spent, then we go out and I replace. 5315, laboratory services. That's up 12%. Unfortunately, one of the labs dropped out of the business right after I already put in budget, so I have no idea, but those costs have all risen significantly. One PFAS test cost me $600, and that's jumped from $300 when we first started testing for PFAS. Borrowing cost $53.21. I don't have any control on that one. Network equipment, I don't have control on that one. Backflow testing, $54.23. I looked at what we had spent in FY22, and I added 5% to it to bring it up because we weren't covering the cost of doing it.
For backflow testing?
Yes.
It looks like you requested the same amount.
Backflow testing. Yeah, what I spent the previous year. I'm just trying to stay on top of it. Gasoline, well, we all know gasoline is up. So I increased to what I had spent in the prior year. Tools and supplies, all of my parts and prices have gone through the roof. That probably doesn't even reflect what it actually cost me, so that's up 5%. My pipes, fittings, and meters, that's up 5%, and once again, that probably doesn't cover it. Water purification, so the cost of one of my chemicals has almost doubled. Just after this is turned into, there was a force majeure, I think they call it. Somebody who supplies us 2 of the major chemicals we use had a fire. They're the major supplier. Currently, some of those chemicals can't be had, so hopefully I have enough on hand to make it through to when that plant comes back online. If not, things will be shutting down.
Okay, so
Wait,
stop for a
wait,
minute.
wait,
Wait.
what's
Stop.
going to be shutting down?
So Manly Street will probably have to go down. That's the one chemical that I can't run without is potassium permanganate. That chemical was supplied by the company that had a fire. So a company that one of the other water departments just posted today that their receiving date is out to May. They just ordered in December, and they have a date of May. And that's just one of the many water departments in the state.
Okay, so there's a chemical you need that you
can't
can't get, so you'll have to shut down.
Manly may have to go down, but hopefully by the time we get there, they're back online.
So, worst case scenario, you have to shut down Manly. How
Yep.
does that affect water for residents?
They'll still
Business?
have water, it's just, it gets funny on how, and that'll be working with the commissioners on what happens, and we won't have to deal with that till we get to that point in time.
Right, but when you say we're gonna shut you down, I picture going
No,
home.
no, you're not gonna
Okay.
find, your faucet's,
All right.
your faucet is still gonna be on, it's just one of my sources is gonna go down, possibly,
Okay.
but hopefully that plant comes back online.
All right, okay.
The next thing that I have,
So are you saying that's not going to be enough in this budget line?
what, the purification?
Yes.
As long as nothing skyrockets anymore, like potassium hydroxide has skyrocketed in this fiscal year. It doubled in price, and like a delivery is $15,000, it's now $25,000 plus. So hopefully they hold it. There was no explanation of why they skyrocketed in price, but and I can't control that.
Do you have any kind of buying group, like with?
Yes,
other-
and that's with the buying group, but even when we went to another supplier when we couldn't get it on time,
Right,
it was even more, so we do get a discount.
so you have leverage through.
Yeah, yeah, we get it through the Surge, I think
buying
it's called Surge.
Surges,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
I think the Soviet Union is the one that produces most of the potassium hydroxide.
Yeah, it's a nasty chemical.
Makes me feel better. Let's stick to the budget.
All right, 5784 went down. Well, I don't have anybody to train currently, but there is money in the line to cover training should we suddenly get hiring. The next one would be 5920. That's truck lease principal. We're looking to replace, you'll see that in the capital meetings. We're looking to replace our F700 with a newer model. And then the interest is the line under that. New well interest, and that's got called out. Somehow, I think there was you see a 791% increase, but I don't think there's a number wrong in the previous year's approval, or I was given a wrong number. But the rest of them are all loans, those are calculated out.
91.
Can I say something else wrong and scare you even more, or
We would.
you have more questions?
We wouldn't expect any less of you. What do
Yeah.
you have, Wayne?
I don't have anything.
You want to scare us some more? So, question, on the
Yep.
contractual raises, we'll jump up to line 5112, clerical salaries. It's up 6.72%. You said that's contractual?
Yes.
That's not union. Is that
yeah,
union?
she's new, so I think this will be a second year. So she jumps,
Okay.
plus she gets the COLA.
Okay.
So that's why it looks
So
like it's a
step
huge.
raise?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
step raise plus the COLA.
Okay.
So it looks like it's a huge thing.
Right, right.
So aside from the truck request, there's really only one significant increase, the
Right.
chemicals.
Yep. And that one's, yeah, that was significant.
You don't have any control over that.
No.
If you take out that health insurance line, I know I did the numbers quick, that's an increase of 8.89.
Yeah, we had the Manley Street plant came off the books this year too, so it's kind of helping offset any major increases also.
Well, I kept hearing you say doubled in price for supplies, doubled in price to fix hydrants, doubled in
We're doing,
price
so we're
and
trying to
trouble
switch out
find.
pumps, like I have pumps that went from $2,000, they're up to $5,000 now. So we're trying to find ways to do away with the pumps. So we've already reworked one of the stations to do away with them. And, you know, there's 6 other pumps that I hope to do away with, so that would be a huge savings if I can.
What do you expect this budget to do to the water rates?
This budget, I don't think it'll affect the water rates at all.
Okay.
It depends, so there are other factors in play, it's not time here, but
The loans, you've applied for the 1.3 million. That application's in, right?
if you're talking about the opera, yeah.
Yes.
There's also the SRFs,
Yes.
we're in on that too, and we've made the sheets this year, so, and we get extra points. I don't know why they call us disadvantaged, but that gives us extra points towards hopefully getting something out of them also.
How much is that, do you think? Do you have an,
So they can't tell. It could either be the loan at a 0%, or it could be the grants for everything. You know, the engineering company was hoping to hear more from them on what it would apply to, because if they give it to them, that means that then they have to start jumping through hoops to design and get it ready to go, which would be the same that would come out of the ARPA. If the ARPA says to go, then they need to jump through hoops and get us moving.
right?
But
Well, the
you-
application's in, so.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Yep.
I assume you're trending to a surplus if you don't plan on increasing rates next year for the current year? You'll have a surplus?
Yeah, there should be I know, looking at our production, that there should be a surplus this year of free cash coming out of this year's production. And that should cover it. Once again, there are things that the DEP is doing that can affect us greatly. they passed a law that ties our water permit withdrawal to the mass drought, which we were never tied before. So they changed that law. So we're tied to mass drought, and so I'm just waiting to see how they figure out how they're gonna restrict us. If they restrict us, that restricts our ability to sell water, which we don't wanna do. And that hurts, it hurts a lot of water departments. So there's things here that are beyond our control. And until it happens, or we see what they're gonna do, we don't know.
So I don't think you should hold back, Wayne, on some of these lines where you were actually talking about equipment, meters, fire hydrants. You're cutting it close. I don't think you should, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, those are small dollars. So I wouldn't cut yourself so close on
So I
those.
know this group has always been okay, and the next group that I'll see tomorrow, the makeup changed, but it has not always been very pleasant, and I'm not, it has, it's,
I'm not sure
it's
how
not,
to take that.
it's, well, it's not you,
I feel
but,
good for once.
but I have 5 lines that I really operate out of, and for 1 year, they went in and took money out of those operating lines as they were all running over, which didn't make any sense, and I didn't have any argument in it, it just happened.
Right,
And
but the fire hydrants are important.
they
You
are
can't
important,
have-
and we get them done every year.
Right, but if you said you were cutting it really close there. So, I
Yep.
mean, if you need to throw another $1,000 or $2,000 in there to get them done, or in the grand scheme of things, looking at this budget, that's.
You know, this does not seem like what I always hear when I come.
But when it comes to like infrastructure
Yeah, I'm not
and
sure who she is
equipment.
right now.
But when it comes to infrastructure and equipment, I mean, I know, I look at salaries closely.
Right.
Okay, but when it comes to fixing things that need to be, a fire hydrant.
Nothing goes without fixing, trust
Right.
me, and it wouldn't go without fixing.
Those are important things.
They
So
are.
I'm just saying,
Yep,
take another look at that,
yep.
please.
I just have one last thing.
Yep.
You said you weren't gonna increase rates. My recommendation that you increase rates annually, small amount, rather than jumping every 5 years or whatever.
I don't have any
I agree
control
with
over
that.
that, I just,
I agree with that.
Don't
I'm
look at
given
me
the
for that.
keys.
I don't like to spend
I'm
money.
given the
that-
keys and I run the
I
place.
don't like to take money.
Okay.
I ask them and I prod them and hopefully they're listening.
All right. Anything
How much
else?
of a surplus do you think you'll have this year, roughly?
I know that we pushed hard during the summer. We had a hard time keeping up, but this should be, whatever we did the previous year should be there this year also. It's not astronomical, it's not a lot, but it's still, it's better than having to raise rates because we didn't make revenue.
Can you accrue for like, we're going to have to paint the tanks eventually again, right?
If there was.
How many years? 12 years?
So I don't know how long it was, but I want to say those tanks went a very long time. Plus, it's supposed to be every 25, but
Okay.
I know it gets stretched a little further. And
Yeah.
yes, it'll be another $2 million when the time comes. Well, actually, there'll be 3 tanks now, so it might be closer to $3 million.
Are you allowed through municipal finance to accrue for something like that?
You could start putting it into articles. I'm not sure because I don't know how the financial world works.
Okay.
I've heard tell that if it sits in an article too long that they might get upset about it, but I'm not sure. But yes, we should be putting money into an article to pay for a remetering program, which should start in 2027, which will cost about $1 million.
Right.
The painting of the tanks will be out probably another 15+ years, and that's probably going to cost about $3 million or even more when that time comes.
So maybe look at an article for meters and whatever
Yep.
else. I mean, you're still going through Badger.
Yes.
We have money that we've actually been, instead of accumulating it toward the next painting, we've been paying down the debt from the last.
And they
one.
have paid off a lot of the
We're
debts.
paying faster the loan down to save interest. So we're generating surplus through the people who use the big tanks, like the sprinkler systems for the fire protection. So that money comes in, and we're generating more money, which will, in the future, be set aside for future maintenance of the tank. But right now, we're trying to get rid of the last debt that we just had to.
They have paid down a lot of debt.
What's
we've
the
been
interest
paying it
rate on
down
that? Well,
faster.
probably low.
Yeah, those are low because, you know, what happens now will be a lot different.
Right,
But back then, it was like 5.5%. It was
0.5.
low, it was really low.
yeah. So that's why I was thinking maybe if you could accrue and pay that at the 0.5%
Yep,
from a net number, you might be better off.
I hear you.
The other problem that we have is that the tank paintings aren't gonna, they're gonna be closer together now because they took the lead out of the paint. The last paint job lasted 40 years, but it was loaded with lead.
Yeah, it was a big
And
tank
that
and it was,
What
Right.
cost more money to get it off the tank because we had to encapsulate the whole tank when we sandblasted it because of the lead that was on it. Now there isn't any lead, but they told me that the paint job isn't gonna last, you know, it's gonna last a quarter of the time.
Yeah.
So we're looking maybe 10 or 15 years,
That's what
we're
I-
gonna be looking at doing it again.
And we did it, what, 5 years ago?
2014 and 2016.
Okay.
Wow, it feels like we
I was
just
hoping
did
to
that.
have
Yeah.
money put away to pay a substantial amount the next time it needs to be painted, the way we're bringing the money in. One of the problems I think that the water department has right now is just retaining help. We're not competitive at all with our pay, and when we find a good candidate for the job, and he's coming from another town, we, just like now, we're negotiating with somebody, and he's been in the business for years, he's got his licenses and everything, and we have to offer him 0 vacation for his first year. And he's already, and this person already has vacation plans, so.
Is that a union?
Yeah,
Is that
it's a
because of the
It's
union?
a union thing, but we have to hire somebody at a lower, at less than, we're losing people, we're training them, we're getting them all their licenses and everything, and other towns need them, so they offer more money, and I can't blame them, they go to another town.
Yeah, it costs us about
And
$11,000 to
so
train somebody.
We're down to like two guys now.
So what's it gonna take?
You can't safely run a water department of
No.
our size with 2 people. And when you find good candidates, you're not gonna hire them. I
So,
just don't see it happening.
So-
We got a real serious problem.
so just so I understand
And
it,
you can't have people injecting potassium hydroxide and these chemicals that we're using
Mhm.
into the system without a license and knowing what you're doing.
so I guess I don't understand from a vacation standpoint. So if you wanted to hire this guy and give him 2 weeks vacation to start because of all of his experience, and he's leaving employment where he has, say, 3-4 weeks vacation or whatever, the union will tell you, no, you can't do that?
I don't know who's telling me, I'm not
So
involved in that
that's
part
what
of
you
it.
just
That's-
said.
We approached.
Well, not you, Rick.
We approached the selectmen's office, and we were told that because of the contract, it says that we can't give more than, like, it would be his first year. He has to work here for a year before he earns his first week,
So
even
how,
though he's been in the industry for, 10 or 15 years.
It's probably an apprenticeship, the first year, see if he works out. And you can always give more if you chose to give more.
that's what I thought. I thought if you, David?
We're told we can't, so that's.
So our union contract does not provide any flexibility. Our first
Okay.
year, as Neil said, is a probationary period, and after 1 year, you receive 2 weeks vacation. So we're in union negotiations right now. I'd rather not discuss union negotiations in public, but
No, there's
obviously
no
we're
need to.
we're discussing.
Well, it's
with
not,
the-
it's a time front.
But we're discussing with the union, but, so yes, we recognize that that's an issue. Again, this contract well predates me. So that's what's in that contract. It's not unsimilar to a lot of other contracts. The person that he's referring to left a municipal sector to go to the private sector where they have a lot more flexibility than we do. I'm not saying anything good about unions or bad about unions, but part of the problem with the union is you have a contract and it doesn't provide us flexibility. So
I
if.
can't
if-
imagine the
so-
union saying, if we offered them 2 weeks vacation, and them saying, oh, no, you're not gonna give that guy 2 weeks, he's getting nothing.
Yeah, I never heard of union ever do
Yeah.
anything like that.
I think it's kind of silly too to expect someone 0 weeks vacation in a year. I mean, that might have worked 20 years ago, but it doesn't work anymore.
So I think,
So-
yeah, I think,
Well,
that-
when a guy comes in, he has no experience, we gotta train him, we gotta get him his license, and we're putting money into him.
Right.
That's completely different when you get a guy that's been in the business for 10 years, he's got all his licenses and everything, and he's ready to come to work and go to work in a treatment plant. And then you tell him, well, we can't give you any benefits, really, you have to wait a year,
Can I just say something, Denise? On that note, I don't know the contracts here, but you can hire somebody, give them a signing bonus, or her a signing bonus. And on that waiver, if you bring somebody with experience, like when we go out organized, you go to a non-union job site, it's been in there for 20 years, non-union, we bring them in, instead of putting them in the apprenticeship, we might say you come in as a journeyman because you have your qualifications. I don't know who stands by that contract with the militant to say you can't do this or that. What do you negotiate with the town? So the town, if you negotiate with the town, I don't know who represents the water department, AFL-CIO or something like that, I don't know. But I'm saying, it's strictly negotiate with the town. If you have somebody with knowledge like they're talking about, 10 years, 2 people working there, that's insane. But anyways, you could just say, bring him in. What do you pay him though for a year? 50,000? Nobody can live off of 50,000.
Right.
Nobody can live off 100,000 because you get taxed to death. I'm not saying give him $1 million, whatever, but you got to relook at the map. The world is changing, the way people are working. People ain't working no more for $8 an hour. You can do better on the streets making money than you can go to
That's
work
right.
and pay the government if they rip you off on state and federal taxes.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's my
like-
opinion.
Like David said, I don't think we should get into a discussion while you're in contract
let's don't slow down
negotiations
here.
and
We've
all
gotten
that,
off
but
topic.
thank you.
We need to get back on schedule. Thank you, Wayne.
Yep, have a good night.
All right, library. How are you?
Oh, good, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, good.
So if you just want to give us a quick rundown,
Yeah,
highlight
sure.
any changes.
Okay, so the biggest change that you'll see on the budget proposals are the clerical salaries, because in September 25th, our staff received significant raises. So while I put down 2% for cost of living, it looks like 24% on the budget form. The other large increase you'll see because of that is the books and periodicals, which is 5510. We have to spend a certain percent of our overall budget on materials. So the budget's higher from the salaries, so that'll increase as well.
So that line item, books and periodicals,
Yes.
that's up 20% over the prior year? Oh,
Yes.
I understand. Sorry.
Yes, it's up, but it's, yes, because of the salary increase.
And what percentage of the budget does that number represent?
16.
Okay.
The only other real increases, there's cost of living, cost of living for myself and the assistant director. There's a small increase in longevity because one of our staff members moved to a different position last year, so she has slightly more hours. For the heat was kind of tricky for us. Our heating bill has been up this winter and fall about $700 to $1,000 over the each month. So I added $500. We spent less last year than we had asked for. That was approved. So it looks like 4% there. And electricity, I did 5%, but I based it on what we spent last year, which was a little bit more than was approved. It was $732 more. So it looks like 9.81%, and that's why. Everything else we're at 0.
So I
Yes.
think it's important to note that the increase in the clerical,
Yes.
it was a jump, but there was a salary study done.
Yes, there was
Okay.
a salary. Yes, we hired Ellen Stonebus, who's a former director, to do a salary survey. She looked at libraries, public libraries of similar size in towns and similar tax brackets as us. And she came up with the figures for the clerical salaries that were based off of those. So that's where the jump came in. And it was approved by the town, of course.
Yeah, we voted on that a few months ago at least.
Just folks see 24%.
Yeah,
Wow,
I know.
how'd that happen,
Right.
right? Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I don't have any. It looks good.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming in.
Thank you, Selectmen.
Thank
Thank
you.
The assessors.
Hello, how are
you?
you?
Good, how are you? How are you?
Now, with the water department, Denise, you were very generous. Are you still feeling that love,
I'm
or
gonna-
how we
yeah,
going here?
yeah.
$214, that's a lot.
Thank
You can't just make it zero?
You know what, we've really tried. We've really tried to keep everything pretty much the same, and I think when you go through it, you can see most everything other than the clerical for the union. That is what it is. The COLA, and there was a few things that you guys said just to up, like postage, because that went up, and a few things like that. The only big jump we had was under consultant services. But otherwise, we kept everything really close to the same. We really tried to keep everything status quo.
So does this now include the utility? I forget if we added that last year.
It does.
to do-
The
it-
$7,500,
It does or doesn't?
It
wasn't it?
does.
7,500? Wasn't
Yeah,
that the amount for the utility assessment?
We went, the FY '22 budget for consultant services was $28,000. And each utility, a 504 is $2,500 each, $7,500. We went from 28,000 to 35,500.
So, I mean, $214 is nothing, but it's kind of offset by the salary differential going from John, right?
Can you let us have our moment?
So, it's, I
you
just,
just let
I
us have our
know,
moment?
you, great job.
Thank you.
So just tell me what that $10,000 is in line 53094.
I will let Ann explain that one, since that was, she felt that's where we need to add some stuff to our budget for more services.
What we need is, with so many ATB cases, we need a certified general appraiser, and they cost. So we're looking at proposals now, and they run anywhere from $9,000 to $12,500. And so I looked at how much we saved in salary and put that figure in. So we'll play with that. We'll make it work.
This is going to be a 1099 person, a consultant?
Yes.
Okay.
ATB wants for certain things, I can't say everything on air, but big box store. We have a big box store that goes back many, many years, and ATB wants a certified general appraiser from both sides
Okay.
to submit a report. And even if I was a certified general appraiser, it's not healthy for me to do our own. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not, so
Who was doing it before?
no one. That's why it's been
This is a
going
new
for
thing.
8-9
Oh,
years.
this is new?
Right, this is a
Yeah.
new thing that the ATB has
Okay.
requested,
Yep.
so we can clean up some old things.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Nope, that's good.
Denise?
I mean, it's kind of hard when you start looking at some lines because there's a salary differential between who was in the position and you're in the position now. I'm assuming your salary increases were in the 2% range?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And nothing else has changed, staff-wise?
Nope, our
Right.
staff is still the same.
Okay.
Nothing's changed there.
One of my secretaries is retired, and according to the state, can only work so many hours a year. So she had to cut back a couple hours, so her actually went down a little bit.
Okay.
That's why you'll see the savings on that she went up to 2%, but then cut back a couple of hours, so
So she's working fewer hours?
Yes.
Okay.
How's that gonna impact your department?
She does a lot more than she's supposed to anyways because of, there's so much for a principal secretary to do, and there's only the two of them and myself now, and she does a lot anyways. And I was gonna put her in for an increase, but it got so close that we couldn't do it. But maybe we can work on that. But we got a work-off person
Okay.
from the senior center, and she came in today, and we spoke to her, and so she's gonna come in 2 hours a week and fill in for that. And she's gonna learn to, anything we need sorted or filed, so we'll pick up some of the time that way. And the senior center needs to get their work-off people out there, which is good. So yeah, we grab one of those.
So you'll still be able to provide all the services even
Yes.
though the
Yeah.
hours are being reduced?
Yes.
Yeah, it's only a few hours, so it's not a
Yeah.
huge impact. It's not like
Okay.
we're losing days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
just a
2
few
hours
hours.
a week.
Oh, okay.
2 hours a week, and that's what we're getting for the work-off person, 2 hours a week to cover it. So she'll do the simpler tasks in, she really loves it.
Good job.
Yep,
All right,
thank you.
thank you.
That's
Thanks.
it.
All right.
I don't
All
have,
good?
that's it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Public comment period. Does anyone have anything? All right,
I
is there?
did want to ask, what we're doing the next meeting is the 200th celebration, and we're doing
Time capsule.
the time capsule. Are we reading our letters? Are we not reading our letters?
I was planning to, because I think the department heads are reading what they wrote, right?
Mhm.
So,
Okay, yeah, that works.
yeah.
All right.
I'll need about, 20 minutes to a half an hour.
I'm just trying to decide, do I put the 4-letter
Yeah.
words in or no? I
I'm
don't.
thinking, a minute or less is appropriate.
I agree. Or less would be better.
Can't wait to hear your paragraph.
Really?
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.